Welcome to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast, where we slice through the noise to bring you the juiciest insights, strategies, and stories from the dynamic world of pickleball. Join us as we serve up engaging conversations with top players, coaches, and enthusiasts, giving you an ace perspective on all things pickleball. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just stepping onto the court, get ready for a volley of knowledge that'll elevate your game to alpha levels. Let the rallies begin.
All right, welcome again to the show. I'm your host, Tats, and my guest today is Ivan, and you're going to help me with your last name?
Yeah, for sure. It's Jakovljevic.
Got it. Perfect. I mean, I listened to another episode that you were on, and I tried to do it, and I knew I was going to kill it. So, thank you for that. Pro pickleball player, former, high-level soccer player. Excited to have you on the show.
No, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Soccer, football, I loved it as a child, didn't take it very far, but tell me about that world. What was your experience there?
Yeah, so comparing to pickleball, completely different world. But I'm happy. I did play soccer for 23 years. So I played in 4 different states professionally. And I came to the United States because of pro soccer. But like 4 years ago, I decided it was enough. I played for 23 years. I got a little bit burned out. And it's really, really hard on your body.
Yeah.
And
I guess the hard part is that, every sport's hard, but you're physically getting, hit quite a bit in that sport.
Yes, it's so contact sport, So me playing that long, it was like my last team actually was in Texas, Houston Dynamo. I went with them on a tryout and it was really good, but I was getting hurt and I decided it's time to slow down and try different challenges.
Sure. So when did pickleball come into play?
So the story about pickleball and soccer. So 2000 and I came to United States 2018, and I was playing soccer until 2020. And my brother, he runs a tennis facility in Tyler, Texas. Yes, and then when I stopped playing, he invited me to run the facility with him because when I was a kid, I played tennis a little bit, but nothing crazy. Maybe a year, and I was like, I learned the basics. And he played professional tennis, so he said, I'm gonna show you, and he started teaching me, and I pick up really quick. I become like 5-0 in tennis, so I could play, in 2 years I get that level. And in 2021 I saw some people coming to our facility and they're putting the tape lines in that net, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even play. I was just like curious to see. And then 2022, I tried to play, and I was like naturally, I don't know, because it's a lot of soccer movements, ladder movements, and it was, I don't know, it was different, but it was so interesting. So then I started playing a little bit, maybe once a week. And then after a month, I applied myself, not apply, how you say that word? I registered myself for a tournament to play 5-0 doubles. Didn't know anything about it. Just my friend asked me, it's like, sure, let's go. And of course we got killed. But to some people, I sent the message, and they recognized me. And they was like, oh man, you're going to be good. Come to Dallas and play with us. And since then I got hooked.
That's awesome. So where were you at the time before you went to Dallas?
Tyler, Texas. It's like 2 hours away.
Oh, got it. So basically,
Yeah.
that's basically the hub for you, and you're still there?
Yes, I'm still there. So I was playing once a week for a year, 2022, 2023, a year, like once a week. I'll drive one Friday and practice with them. And then some guys over there who play pro there say, hey man, if you want to take this serious, try to move to Dallas. So then I lived in Dallas for 1 year, practicing and training, and I got better. And then I got lucky because Riley Newman, he moved the same day as me to Dallas, and we become good friends, and we start drilling, and he helped improve my game for sure.
Wow. What have you learned from Riley by drilling with him?
That's a good question. Me coming from soccer background, like I like to compare because pickleball is professional, but it's totally different world. Me coming from soccer, you like your training is totally different. You know, it's like that mentality and that focus. So with him, I realized like he's like true professional guy. With practicing with him is like no talk. Everything is like discipline and go hard. Like you practice with him like 1 hour and you're drained. It's so hard. So he reminded me on soccer practice. Like I see in pickleball world, it's like it's a lot of fun. People taking this for fun, and I'm okay with that. But if you want to be top of the game, like you need to take it serious. So that's what I learned from him. Take this serious and grind.
Got it. Just like soccer, which has a very established profession and dollars attached to it, and pickleball is growing. He brought that mentality, the professionalism that exists in other sports that have been around a little bit longer to pickleball, and that's what you saw.
Yeah, for sure. Like he'll show up. Like if we have a practice, like he will come way early, and do stretches and everything. So I don't see that many people doing that in pickleball. So it's a different level.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And what have you learned? You're a lefty. I'm a lefty. What
okay.
have you learned about being a lefty and playing pickleball?
I mean, be left in this sport, it's a big advantage actually. That's why Ben said, and I agree with him. It's not easy to play left because angles, it's totally different. And it's not like everybody wants to play right side. So be supportive player. So for me, I can be both. I can be supportive player and I can be an alpha on a course. So I'm glad I'm a lefty.
Perfect. Now, so you already alluded to it a little bit, like your soccer background and your lateral movement, sounds like it translated well for you. Let's start on the soccer side. Is there anything from the soccer side that you kind of have to unlearn, or is it all transferred and helped you out?
Oh, that's a good question. So one thing what I was struggling the most, but I'm realizing that now. So it's mental part. you know, totally different because in soccer you're playing 90 minutes, win, lose, doesn't matter. You have 90 minutes, you have teammates. Uh, the game is totally different, than pickle because pickle you're playing win or lose and the points are going so fast, and then plus you have opponents who are trying to get in your head, and before in pickle I start playing pickleball, I'll take that personal. Because in soccer, if somebody tries to get in your head, it's like contact sport. You can respond like, a little bit more aggressive, and that's soccer. But in pickleball, what are you gonna do, right? It gets in your head. So that's what I learned. Totally different than soccer. It's a mental part for sure. You can't carry it. You need to let it go. So it's super fun. I'm still learning it, but I think I get way better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't have to mention names, but what sort of things have you seen that people do directly or subtly to try to get into your head?
Oh man. I mean, now I changed perspective of that, So I played with a guy, you probably know him, Brandon French. I think he's the goat of trash talking. And actually, I'm lucky I met him because I learned from him a lot. So from my perspective, like people who try to trash talk, they're probably they have a problem, because they can beat you because of the skill. So they're trying to get in your head. So when I heard somebody now talking trash, it gives me actually, a positivity because I think they're struggling right now. So that gives me like even me playing better.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, what specific things did you like prioritize as you've moved from, a good player to now playing pro? Like what helped you the most in sort of moving up level to where you are currently?
I mean, I do have a like sport background, and some things I transfer to soccer. I think right now, like you can tell the top players, everything is the margin is really close, right? Everybody's good. So I just think on a highest level, it's decision and discipline, you know. the most thing is making decision. And like I said, mentally strained, because you can't go in a hole. Like we all going in a hole to extend, so it's like just the question is like how long you're gonna stay there. So for me, it's like I learned that if you miss 3 points or 4 points, that's okay. You're allowed to miss. You can't just carry it through the whole match, because then the game is so fast. In 5 minutes, you can lose, the whole game, and you can go home and think about it. So I think like less you staying in that hole and you're aware of it, I think that's gonna improve your game a lot, because everybody has a selection of shots, just how long you're gonna stay there.
Yeah. So you said decision making. What do you do to improve your decision making?
I mean, like when you practice, I don't want to like practice, I will say drill a lot. So for me, it's like we all know what is our weaknesses, right? And we're gonna try to hide that when you're playing a match. But during the practice, like I like to practice my weaknesses a lot. So I would say whenever you win, it's amazing, But when you lose, then you really learn a lot. So me going back to my game when I lose, then I realize what did I did the most, good stuff and wrong, and that's how I improving my decision making, So example, last match we played, I played with Steve Deacon, and we played a really good match against Pablo and Federico, and we were up 10-7. And then we lost 12-10, and that reflect on the second game, and we lost pretty easy. But then, you need to know, like when you up, you don't want to rush it. You want to stay what was working. But instead of that, I specifically tried to rush. So I think that's the thing where like you can learn from every match. So when things are going good, stick what was good. When things going bad, don't rush it. Slow down. So patience.
Got it. I mean, how much does watching, other pros' games factor into it? Do you type of person that watches all of other people's games to analyze, or you just focus on your own game? What do you what's your mentality around that?
I think focus on yourself, like what you can do the best. Like before me coming into pickleball, I was way too much focused on my partner. And like to extend, whenever we lose, we are blaming our partners, believe it or not, but we do that, but I changed that perspective. So like when you focus on yourself, what you can control, and that's how you're going to improve, because your partner is trying to do the best too. So if you start focusing too much on your partner, then you start making mistakes. So that's what I change. I like to focus on myself. And especially on a pro level, it's a lot of intensity. You're nervous, right? So I like to tell people, like, if you're nervous, don't put that much focus on yourself, because probably your opponent is nervous too. So that's why I try to, coming from a soccer background, we are nervous, intense and everything, but probably our opponent is too. So don't try to focus too much on yourself on that kind of aspect. So that helped me a lot.
Embrace it, understanding that everyone's under the similar conditions.
Oh, for sure. If you're just watching MLP today, you can see like people are missing serves, because it's so much pressure. So everybody is nervous.
Yeah, for sure. You talked a little bit about partnerships, but what sort of player style or partnerships generally have worked out for you?
So this is my actually first full season, So I played last year too, but it was inconsistent. And this season, what I can say, like what I like about partners is like to find somebody who's positive, because in this sport, energy is everything. It's momentum. You need to catch that momentum. So right now I'm playing with I have two partners. I have Brandon French and Steve Deacon. Amazing guys. Totally different styles, but I like it. With Brandon, I had the best results this year. With Steve too. So we'll see how that's gonna go towards the end of the year. I'm excited.
Yeah. And how much talk is it about strategies or things going in, or, a lot of it's just kind of feeling it out and gaining experience?
Yeah, so I I never played tennis on a high level, so I don't know the strategy, in that talk. But the example, Steve is amazing mentor for me because he understands the sport a lot. So talking to him, I realized like what is the game plan, how to come in the game. So you need to have a plan, especially on a higher level. You need to try a few things and see if it's working. And if it doesn't work, then you try to change it. So like for me, I like to like try the slow start in the game, just to test your opponent and see where this game is gonna take you.
Oh, okay. So you start by playing a slower game to test if they have soft, the soft hands, and then go faster if it's not working.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody has a weakness in their game. You just need to find it, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my weaknesses. I just I don't wanna say it loud. Yeah.
Of course, of course. So okay. And then in terms of life on the road and just playing tournaments, I know that, you said you haven't played, 5-0 is very good for tennis for 2 years of playing, but what have you sort of learned, adapted by going to events? Because I know with pickleball, like there's lots of different scoring formats, and there's also lots of, formats. Like some of the local tournaments are more round robin. Some of them, the pro ones are like, they have these different categories. I mean, do you prepare any differently from any format or type of tournament?
Me coming into this sport, I didn't know. I'm still searching a little bit to see, because in soccer you're a little bit spoiled. You're gonna trip. Everything is waiting for you. You need to just come in a bus, get off the bus. Dinner is waiting. Lunch is waiting for you. In pickleball, you're on your own. You need to make a decision what time you're gonna wake up. What time you're gonna grab a lunch. What time you're gonna show up. So I try to figure out what is the best for me yet. I think the best thing is like to come on a tournament like at least 45 minutes before. You don't want to be rushed. I think that's like people are making mistake, coming like maybe 30 minutes, 15 minutes before the match, and then they're rushing and they're not even calm yet. So I like to come earlier so I can prepare myself. I said one time on this podcast, let me not forget that. So stretching, I know this sport is super easy, looks easy, and it's fun, but to extend, you need to protect yourself a little bit. So like before you go on a court, please, do some stretching, loosen up a little bit so you don't get hurt.
Yeah, for sure. Conditioning. What do you do for conditioning?
Conditioning, a lot right now, because I learned one time, and I went to play actually with Lindsay Newman. We played Las Vegas one tournament. I learned a lot. So we played third match, and I was worn out, and I was thinking, yeah, it's good to be in a good shape, but I got it. But no, you need to start working out. So I'm doing a lot right now.
Yeah. What sort of things are you doing to maintain? I guess endurance is one thing, but like what sort of things are you doing?
I think stretching is the most important thing, because you're on a concrete, and you're bent over a lot. You need to stay low with your knees. So that and gym is really important. Yeah, you need to hit the gym, especially on a pro level, because like you said, it's so many athletic people are coming and younger, and they're hungry, so you want to keep up. So if you want to get serious in this sport, you need to do a lot of things. You need to go to the gym. You need to start running, and be careful what you're eating too, because all combined, it's gonna take you really far.
For sure. Yeah, I love the tips. Is there anything that I didn't cover or ask that you wanted to share about, any tips on pickleball or your life or pro pickleball?
I mean, on the pro pickleball, what I'm seeing right now. So, like, I want to take example of Ben. It's still, I think it's still in an early stage, because all pros, they don't have a coach yet, and I can tell like we all are working on our own. So it's basically our knowledge and our experience, and we're learning from tournaments. But I think in the future you're gonna see a lot of people with coaches. I don't know how you said it, but people, stretch people around you who's gonna help you with everything. So I think you're gonna see people like in tennis, they're gonna come with three, 4 people in their box, and I think that's coming for sure, because right now a lot of people, like I said, are doing on their own, and I think we're gonna need some help, to figure out some things, because it's obviously growing like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about pro tip.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for tuning in to the Alpha Pickleball Podcast with Tats. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, rate, and connect with us on social media. Stay alpha on the pickleball court. Until our next session.